everybody, it's Bob. I'm back with my playthrough of Final Fantasy V, the Four Job Fiesta. And Angels is back to recover in the catapult area. Him and his friends, Lenna, Galuf, and Faris just defeated all the outer defenses to the floating city. So they're going to head on to that floating city and try to see who turned on the Earth Crystal. Just talk with Sid and Mid there for a little bit. You know, they have to say, I guess, also let them know that, hey, we're okay. So, because they were a little worried about us there, with all the cannons that floating city had to try to get us from going in there. But if you thought the outer defenses were bad, ooh, the inner defenses are even worse. We got some tricky things here. If you have a thief, the thief will make this area a little bit easier because there's a bunch of like hidden floors, but the thief will be able to see hidden passages. So you'll be able to see the hidden passages to walk through. But I know where they are, so I can make it through without the thief. So I'm not allowed to use the thief for this Four Job Fiesta. Yeah, thief ain't a really good class for combat, but it's really good for like utility. You can't get back attacked if you have a thief. You have an ability to run from fights with you when you're a thief. The thief can sprint. The thief can see hidden passages. And this thief can steal some stuff that, you know, no other classes can get, so. Alright, so here we are in the floating city. And got pretty tough enemies here. Probably an ice rod would be the best rod to equip because there are two enemies in here that have weaknesses to ice. The other one has weakness. The only other enemy that has weakness is weakness to lightning. Those are stone masks that we see right there, along with the raw mages. So they're kind of annoying because they cast level 2 spells hitting our party. So we'll end up giving Galuf back that healing rod to start healing people up. So we'll give Lenna an ice rod to boost her ice spells. So these guys can hopefully drop an elixir. It's always a good drop. We're going to need a bunch of elixirs later on in the game because there's this enemy that requires an elixir to defeat. They basically say, you know, give me an elixir, and if you give them an elixir, you get like 100 job points, but it depends on how many elixirs they want. It can vary. So the more you get now, the better. So I think there's maybe about 6 of them all total. So that's a lot of ability points. You can almost max out a job. Speaking of maxing out jobs, the bard job doesn't have a lot of levels. It has 3 levels. It only costs 150 points to max out total. So that'll be a real quick, easy job to max out. So unlike the other jobs that we got, Red Mage, which cost over 1,000 because its last ability is 999. The Samurai that we haven't gotten yet, that's going to be more expensive than the Knight. So. Although Angels is getting close to the Knight, maxing out the Knight. I think he has 2 more levels to go. Nope, he's on his last level here, so. Defense, get 3 more defense. He loses some agility and loses some weight, so he'll go a little slower, but it's okay. We'll give him a little bit of better defense. So here we have another place. It looks like we're in a dead end, but there's a hidden passageway here. There's also going to be hidden passageways to get to the chests over onto the left here. So these wall demons, they're very susceptible to the charm song that the bard uses, which is really good if you have a blue mage, because one of the spells that these guys use is the White Wind, which heals characters for how many hit points the caster has. So that guy now, yeah, you know, he only has 67 hit points. Because he only healed himself for 67, so that's a good spell to use because there's a really good, the best armor in the game in terms of defensive power is called the Bone Mail, but basically prevents you from getting healed by most things. But White Wind isn't one of the things that it can still heal. So we walk through some over some hidden floors, get that treasure chest. And the first stairway we come across, that's the way we want to go. But to advance, but we're gonna skip it for now because there's some treasure over here, and we want to get all the treasure before, because we can't come back to this dungeon ever. So it's now or never to get all the treasure and all the enemies inside. So we pick up that treasure, and then we're going to head down this way. Do a lot of looping passages in this area. It makes the dungeon seem bigger than it is. So these Lanka Knights are pretty annoying. We're going to use the charm spell here, and hopefully that'll prompt the Wool Demon to sometimes use White Wind on us, or to attack its partners, the Lanka Knights, who have some pretty good defense, so they're pretty tough nut to crack. Sometimes the Wool Demon will also use an Arrow 2 spell. That's another blue magic spell that you can use. So if you have a blue mage, and it's also like probably a little stronger than like maybe a regular level 2 spell. So it could probably do a lot of damage to the Lanka Knights if he targets them with it. Yep, he did it right there. Speaking of, so that's nice. That's a pretty good defense there. So even with the double-handed ability there, Angels was doing less than half of their hit points. So okay, we have quite a few save points in here. That one staircase that we passed up, that's actually to a save point, and there was another one a little later on in the dungeon. So yeah, plenty of opportunities to, if you're using a lot of magic points, to heal them up when sitting around the tent to heal up and save your game. The only bad thing is if the Whirlwind is by himself and he's charmed, he can bring himself out of the charm by hitting himself, or what could be worse is he can use the Arrow 2 spell on himself, and he absorbs wind, so it actually will heal him. But luckily he doesn't have that strong defense like those Lanka Knights do, so we can take him out pretty easily there. And we go winding around here, and we end up back on the 3rd level. There's that one chest. We've got another hidden floor here. It's pretty easy to find. We get a treasure chest here that's totally worthless. It's going to have a shield in it, but we're not using any shields because it's better to have our knights use that double grip to double their offense. It's like Final Fantasy 3. You know, you'd rather have double offense than a little bit more defense. So in Final Fantasy 3, we didn't use the shields either. So another new enemy, the Lamia. If you have a blue mage, they can learn a spell from the Lamia called 1,000 Needles, which does 1,000 damage, which at the end of the game isn't a lot of damage, but for right now, like, that spell can pretty much one-shot most enemies. And it does fixed 1,000 damage, so it doesn't matter what the enemy's level is, what their defense is, it's always going to do 1,000 damage, so. Alright, let's rotate around. A lot of treasures, but like I said, we gotta do a lot of backtracking and twisty passages in this dungeon. So there's that one staircase we passed up. It's a quick save point. We'll do a quick save. We don't need a tent right now, so we'll just make a save. Just in case we run into some... there's a tough enemy, a Hydra monster. There's also this Ghidra monster that's like a palette swap of the Hydra monster. That's also tough, but the good thing with the Ghidra monster is it's undead. You can just hit it with a Phoenix down, and it'll instantly defeat it. And the Ghidra is guaranteed to drop a Phoenix down, so you never really lose anything by fighting them. So just use a Phoenix down, it gets replenished. So right, to the left was a dead end, so we just head to the right here. More twisty passages. Get a treasure chest here. Now there's a door there, that's the one we want to go down into. It kind of looks a little confusing because normally you don't enter doors from the top. But we'll be coming back that way in a little bit. We want to first head down that staircase because we want to get some more treasures. Now the treasure room that we're going to go to is kind of confusing. There's going to be a pitfall in it, and but you can avoid the pitfall and get all the treasure, and then take a shortcut by falling in the pitfall. All you have to do is just stay on the left. So if you just stay on, hug the left, we can grab all the treasure and won't have to fall out the pit. Get a new sword there, the ancient sword for the knight. The moon ring is a boomerang that we can use for the thief or ninjas. Unfortunately, the power, it's only the knight can't use it, but we can give it to our bard, That way Faris can do a little bit more damage, physical damage, and not so much. The elf cape is pretty good, but she already has the guardian knife, which is helping her prevent melee attacks. So we can pass that elf cape on to somebody else. So we'll give it to Lenna. We'll get a second elf cape a little bit later, back in Wars. And once you get all the treasure, you can just step down, and we end up falling in this hole. Back to this area where we kind of wanted to go anyway, so we kind of save a little bit of steps. To the 4th level here. I'm gonna approach this door that I said was confusing. More wrapping around here. Now, before we go any further, there's an enemy I want to encounter around here. So if you didn't encounter it in here, it's kind of rare to encounter after this area. I just want to grab it here while I can. Even though there's more on this floor, but over on the other side of the floor, it's where we tend to meet the Hydras and the Ghidra enemies. So before we head on, we just have one enemy. It's the other enemy that I said has a weakness to ice. The Archaeotoad. These guys can also do that song, the pond chorus that turns into a frog. If you didn't learn it back from the frogs in the Wars Tower. But I'm not too worried about that spell, so we don't have blue mages. And we just barely avoided defeating those other 2 toads. Just a little bit more damage would have taken them both out. But that's the Angel's new sword there. It looks pretty wicked looking. That sword can inflict the old status on a character or an enemy, so that's pretty good because remember the old spell does it reduces your stats, and then it continues to reduce the stats throughout the battle. So it reduces it first, and then it keeps draining the stats. So that's pretty good. So, and it can work on some bosses. So we're almost through with these rooms. So we got a save point right there. It's real close by. So to the left is where we want to go. But first, we're going to head here to the save point, make our save, and heal up in the tent because I had to use an ether there on Lenna. She was using up all the magic points, and now she used all the ether magic points too. So when I heal her up, get ready for fall, because we have another boss battle coming up in a little bit. So take care. See you next episode. Thanks for following along. Bye.